Hey everyone, welcome to the Align Your Life show. So glad you are here, and if you're listening to the playback, welcome. My name is Jenny Parks. I'm a health and prosperity professional, integrative nutrition coach, and wellness advocate. And the Align Your Life show is all about empowering people towards living a life of enrichment. I have an amazing guest today. Oh, you know what? Gloria Swardenski?
Yes.
I did not even ask you if I was saying that right before the show. I meant to. So her name is Swardenski. So I'm glad I got that.
Thank you.
Gloria is the owner of Remarkably You. She is an internationally known life coach, business consultant, author, and professional speaker. We have her book right here, so we'll be talking about that soon. Thank you so much for being here, Gloria.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Have you. Remarkably You. I fell in love with that name the first time I met you. We met, gosh, it's been over a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years ago at a networking event she was speaking at, and I was completely engaged and enthralled with everything she had to say, and I won her book, which was so exciting for me.
You did, didn't you?
Remember?
I do remember that.
So I'm so excited to have you here. We have so much to talk about, and I know that we have a specific focus too, which we'll get to. But let's talk a little bit about Remarkably You, because I know that there is a story behind not just the name, but how you came to be doing what you're doing and how it's grown and expanded. But I know on your website it says Remarkably You means having the power and freedom to be, in capital letters, B-E, the person you were created to be. So who is that person?
Yes. Well, you get to decide.
Right?
Right? You get to decide. I didn't create you. So you get to figure that out for you. But the story behind Remarkably You, I started coaching way back in 2001. And I was, at that time, I didn't really have a name. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be Coach Gloria because my last name is so hard. So I wanted to be Coach Gloria, but that was already taken.
Oh.
So then I switched it around and said, okay, I'll just be Gloria Coach. Well, there was a gal who I was actually working with. She was a client of mine, and she was in marketing. And she was like, Gloria, you need a better name than this. I was like, no, I don't. I'm doing just fine. She's like, no, you need to come up with something. So I was like, well, then you help me out with this. So she came up with like 20 different names of A-plus coaching and all this different stuff, and none of them resonated with me. None of them. And like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but none of these are working for me. And she said, well, Gloria, you need to come up with something that's remarkably you.
Oh, I love it.
And I went, that's it. And she goes, what? And I go, that, remarkably you. That's what we're talking about.
Fantastic.
Is stepping into that space. So then I still resisted it though. Like I loved it, but I still resisted it. And so I went, and of course I looked for the domain name, Remarkably You, thinking it would never be. And it was there. But that still wasn't enough, right? No. Still not there. And so here I am. I go to Barnes & Noble, and I'm in line buying some book. And there's this black box that's sitting there. And it just grabbed my attention. And it had, I didn't even know what the black box was. But it had like walk to the edge, laugh, love your friends, you know, all these things. And it just like called my name. So I walk over to this box, like, what is this? And I turn it over, and on black, there's this big orange box. And it says, dare to be remarkable.
I knew the word remarkable.
Yes.
Was in
and
there.
I went, okay.
Okay, third time's a charm.
All right.
I get it.
So
now,
I went
right?
home, and I got my domain name, and here we are.
That's so funny. That reminds me of my friend Lori. I was telling her a story recently about something that happened twice. And she's like, so how many times do you have to hear something before you actually listen? And I'm like, well, okay, twice.
Well, apparently
sometimes, yeah, 2-3 times. But I love the synchronicities that happen because they're always guiding us, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Isn't that fantastic? I love that.
I know, even when we fight it.
What a cool story. So what brought you to the point of coaching? What were you doing before then? Was it something similar? How did you discover that coaching is what you wanted to do?
Well, and it's all around this clarity and confidence piece, right? So what I did, and this is what I work with my clients on, was I was involved in a family business. And we had a fire and lost it all. Like overnight, we lost it all. And being in a family business, it's great, but it does have downsides too. So it was kind of a graceful way for me to exit stage left, if you will, right? But I had no idea what was next. So I was like, okay, I'm open to anything. I don't know. So my process of starting to figure out what my next step was is I sat down with a piece of paper, very old school, and I wrote down my ideal job, like my ideal career. And I started putting all these things down of everything from every experience I had.
Now, did you just innately know to do this? Had you been coached around doing something like this?
Because I had never even heard of coaching.
Okay.
And so I just sat down and did it. And I said, I don't know what this is, but I know that this is me. And so then I went on the hunt for that. And so it was in Entrepreneur Magazine that I actually found an article about coaching. And then I hired the coach that was in that article. And then I started and got my training and all kinds of stuff. But before then, I had never even heard of it before.
That's awesome, because that's such an important thing to do.
Yes.
And I think it's a piece that many people miss when they're just trying to figure out their purpose or what it is they want to do next, or everything just seems muddied and they can't really see the path. It's so great to gain that clarity and that focus by just writing it down. I mean, it sounds like such a simple thing, but it's extremely powerful.
Well, here's what we usually do, right? Especially if we're in that place we're like, well, I could do this, and then, or I could do this, or I could do this. And instead of being proactive and creating something, we just become very reactive to what is right there.
Right.
And sometimes that's how we can do, I often say, this is how we can jump from job to job to job and go, I hate this one, so I'll go over here. This one looks good. Oh, I hate this one. And then we go over here. And we never find that happy place because we've never created it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big piece, too, for people is the work that they do. I'm sure that you coach a lot of people around that in their life and finding what really empowers them and makes them happy. So what does coaching look like for you? Because I know you do other things. You speak, you're a business consultant, author. So how do you mold all of that together? How does that all come together in your business for you?
Oh my gosh.
Is that a big question?
It is. It just comes together.
Yeah. Do you have like normal speaking engagements? What kinds of things do you speak on? Are you speaking in businesses specifically, or what does that look like?
Well, it's more in the coaching realm. So as you know, I do a lot within networking organizations and associations and things like that. So that's kind of the audience I usually speak to. But in that, I also speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, right? So they become my coaching clients and things like that. And so the coaching world is very diverse. Because people come to me for all different kinds of reasons. But it's usually the common thread is they're trying to figure out what that next step is for them.
It's so essential that we have someone to help us and guide us. And I think we overlook that sometimes, thinking that we can figure it out on our own. But I've said this many times on the show, and I cannot remember where I heard it, but it's like the eye can't see itself. We can't see what's going on with ourselves as clearly as someone else looking in from the outside can.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's huge to have that help. So what was the biggest transition for you? Or what was the new beginning that led you to this?
My biggest transition was after 20 years of marriage, and this was after I started coaching, was going through a divorce. So 20 years and then going through this divorce and having to recreate my entire life. I'm
sure that squashes confidence a little bit and muddles the clarity.
Just a little.
Where that probably grew from, I would imagine,
Yes. Well, and going through that, anybody that's gone through like this huge major change of some kind, where you think that you know and you think that you have this plan, it's like this fog that just kind of goes over your entire life and you can't see. So there's times where you can't even see your hand in front of your face. To figure out what is next. That
can definitely set you off in many different crazy directions, and it doesn't feel good either.
No, it doesn't.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue talking to Gloria and get a little more insight on the clarity and confidence piece too that she focuses on in her business and her coaching. We'll be right back.
Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Align Your Life show. Here with Gloria Swardenski of Remarkably You, and talking about so very much, actually, starting with how she became to be coaching and helping others through their own transformations and really being and stepping into the life that they deserve to live. And you were sharing with us before the break 20 years of marriage and a divorce.
Right.
Which is not how you thought your life was going to go.
Oh, not at all.
So how do you get through that? You had children.
So I have four. So I instantly, well, not instantly, but became, a single mom of 4 kids, which was never in the plan.
Talk about just unpreparedness. I mean, don't we like to be prepared and in control? And it's like having the sheet, out from under you.
Yeah. Well, and that's that thing of when you think you know what that life is going to look like, and it doesn't anymore. And I call it the gift in the ugly wrapping paper, because it's really ugly and awful, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But at the same time, you have an opportunity in the midst of that, because I had the opportunity to create my entire life and choose who I wanted to be and be very proactive about that.
We had a little conversation over the break about the clarity and confidence, and you were talking about how those are your words for this year, and I called them anchor words, which kind of like what you were talking about, and that's something too. And I just realized I don't really have an anchor word for this year, but it's so grounding to have that one word that you can go back to, because it holds so much within just the word for you, and does keep you anchored and grounded when you start to want to let life take over, or other people and judgments and opinions take over, or negativity or toxicity or the news or whatever it is can take over. So you had some words during that time that kept you in the place that you wanted to be, knowing that you were going to focus and this is the direction I want to go. What were those words?
Yes. Well, for me, it was just all out battle. I mean, I really appreciate people who can go through a divorce and be very amicable with one another, but that was not my story. And so it was just a battle. And so I picked for me that I wanted to handle it with grace and dignity. So in those moments where I wanted to or could easily get drug into the mud of everything, as you said, it's kind of those anchors where I would mentally say, how would the graceful Gloria handle this? If I had dignity, how would I handle this? And it became kind of those guidelines for me as I was trying to navigate through that fog.
So I think anytime you're going through a transition, no matter what it is, something as huge as a divorce after 20 years with 4 kids, or maybe a failed business venture, or just whatever that looks like. There's so many different ways that could look for people, but it does weigh on your confidence.
It does.
Absolutely. The mind starts to talk a little bit.
It does.
Yeah. So how did you navigate through that? And I'm sure that your own personal experience is what has helped you to help other people do the same thing, which I love so much, because our purpose grows out of the ugly wrapping paper, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely does. Yes, it does. And so for me, at that time, I did have a coach. And so people will often say, how did you do it? And I had a coach, and I remember her saying this to me. Was, I don't know, I may have even been crying, going, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm floundering everywhere, I have no direction, and this is so hard. And I loved what she said, because she acknowledged that, and she didn't want to just have this positive affirmation of, oh, just think positive thoughts, it'll be okay. Right? She acknowledged, this is hard. But what she gave to me was, she said, this is hard. but you can do hard.
Yes.
And so that became for me my grounding truth, that when my confidence was low, that's what I would hold on to. So if you look at my house right now, I have Post-it notes everywhere with my grounding truths that I still hold on to today.
That's awesome. Those reminders are important because we forget.
Yes.
We forget. We think we don't, but we do constantly. So in the midst of all of that, you decide to launch your own business?
Yes. Well, we did take a little bit of a step back there for a little bit
Okay.
to kind of regroup and all that kind of good stuff. But the coaching for me, and this is what I say, as much as I have tried to resist coaching and say I'm just going to leave it behind, it always comes back. And it's always where, in my world, where it's almost as if God himself is saying, no, this is what I have for you, and this is, what I want for you to share with other people. And so as much as I want to go, I'm just going to leave this behind, I'm never successful at that. So,
yeah, no, I admire you for not being, because that's the desires of our heart are there for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't shut the door on them, and they
Yes.
will not be caged.
No.
And we live our life, I think, with those limiting beliefs and conditioned mindset and
Oh my gosh,
all
yes.
these things that come at us that we don't even realize we're taking on through our childhood and growing up and things like that. And we can very easily rationalize why going after a dream would be really stupid, or going after a dream would only end in failure, or going after a dream would not be very smart right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be reasons.
There's always a reason.
Right?
Exactly. And so, and this is where that clarity piece comes in, because if you just know, and it's very hard, and this is why you said, to me, like, who are we going to be? It's like we can be whomever we really want to be, but within each of us, there is that still small voice that has our name written all over it. And I really do believe that God wants to give us the desires of our heart, and he plants those things within us. And so it's okay to follow them and to go after those things and to give ourselves permission to step into those places. So.
And it's okay not to listen to what anyone else has to
No.
say about it, too.
No.
Do you hear that a lot from people in your coaching practice? Maybe they're taking on other people's opinions, or maybe they're projecting their own limiting beliefs onto other people, back to themselves, you know, telling stories, playing a reel. Do you see that a lot?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this is what usually happens. When somebody gets clear about something and they say, I'm going to do this, it usually partners up with a whole lot of fear. It's that, and then it's, oh my gosh, am I good enough to do this? Am I smart enough to do this? Or people won't ever follow me. People won't ever listen to me. I am totally nuts for thinking this way. And, all these voices that we have just accumulated through the years, which, again, the fears, are the opposite of our confidence, right? And they chip away at our confidence. And so what I do and what I work with is actually learning to appreciate our fears. Because they're there to protect us, and so we can honor our fears, and at the same time move with them and through them and say, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Allow them to guide us
Exactly.
a little bit, right? We have to take another quick break, but when we come back, I'd love to hear how you were able to rebuild your confidence.
Okay.
And how it is that you help other people do that as well. Maybe some tips.
Sure.
Maybe some tips from somebody who's been there. We'll be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. and we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Align Your Life show, here with Gloria Swardenski. She's the owner of Remarkably You, and we've been talking about really everything, but mostly just confidence and how to come back from something that can seem devastating in your life, as I'm sure that going through a divorce and everything that you went through did, and just navigating and recreating yourself, stepping into being authentically you. So we were talking before the break, how did you regain your confidence through all of that, and how is it that you assist people to do that too? It's different for everyone, right?
It is.
But
it is.
There are certain things that we can all do to help us, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, I'll start with a story, and I'll try to make it as brief as I can. When you do have, like I said, the clarity and then the fears that come in. And I was coaching first and then went through the divorce. And so talk about being a life coach, and when we talk about the book, I was actually writing a newspaper column. And so I was kind of this little bit of a local celebrity in my town, and then went through a divorce.
Wow, so you're even more in the public eye at that point.
Yes.
So talk about being battered and bashed. Then I'm sure that you have those stories in your head about, here I am saying this, and now they're watching me go through something.
Yes. But here's what happened. I was trying to regroup and trying to figure it out. And as I said, I was going to walk away from the whole coaching thing. So what I did is, it was, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, and I said, I'm just going to go away. I'm going to leave it all behind. I'm going to go away. And I decided I was going to go to a bed and breakfast somewhere. I had no idea where. So I went to bnb.com. I love bed and breakfast, don't you?
I know, I just heard of that actually recently.
So I went to bnb.com, and I picked this place up in northern Indiana. And as you know, Amish country, there's like a million bed and breakfasts up there. So I randomly picked this one that had the peppermint room, and it's red and white striped wallpaper. And I said, I'm just going to go there and just figure out what my next step is, and just quiet down the voices and just be with me. And, I always say start there, because it's your authentic voice that you have to listen to. So I went there, met the lady. She showed me to my peppermint room. Always good, I love that. Right? And so here I am for the whole weekend, just being very quiet, introspective, not making a big splash. And I walked down to have breakfast on Sunday morning, and the lady who owned the bed and breakfast looked at me, and she said, Gloria, I'm so sorry. I didn't know who you were. I'm sitting here going, who am I? Like, that's the craziest thing
That's
I've
what I'm trying to find out.
Like, who am I supposed to be, right? And she said, I didn't know that I had a published author in my house. And so I was just like, a published author? I'm like, that's true, but how do you even know this, right? I'm in this totally random place. And she said, I have your book. She goes, it's on my kitchen counter right now.
Too funny.
And she goes, I recognize your picture. And I was just like in awe of this, right? And I went, when did you buy this book? She goes, well, just 2 weeks ago. And I asked a crazy question, and I went, why did you buy this book? And she said, my daughter loves quotes. And so I bought it for her. And she loved it so much that I decided I would read it. So it's in my kitchen, open up. She goes, don't leave. I want to go get it so you can sign it before you go.
That's awesome.
So she left, and it was just like that black box where I looked up to the heavens and went, okay.
Wasn't that just such an enormous affirmation of you are exactly where you need to be right now?
It was just one of those where don't quit. I know.
I love that.
Don't quit. Have confidence. You will be supported, and keep going.
And isn't it amazing how life works like that?
Oh,
You know,
it's amazing.
Most people do not tune into the subtleties like that. I mean, but that is a huge message.
It
from
is.
your internal compass, your divine guidance, letting you know.
Well, and I have seen in my coaching practice, I have seen it so many times where people will get clarity, they're scared to death, and I just sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Because they'll start opening their minds up to the possibilities, and things are coming to them. It is amazing. And they'll go, Gloria, you'll never believe what happened. And I'll go, yes, I will.
I love that. That's
Yes.
awesome. So let's talk about the book real quick. I love it. Got
Okay.
90 Seconds is what it's called. It's quick, say that 17 times. Quick quotes and notes to encourage and inspire. So when you open it up, it leads you through, I don't know how many days, 95, 100?
There's 100.
And for each day, there is a quote at the top of the page, and then you shared some personal thoughts
I did.
on the quote, and then some room for you to make your own notes and how this how this relates to you and your life and what's going, just anything, whatever, right? So I
right.
love that. So what was the inspiration behind the book?
Well, the funny thing is I've heard it called the best bathroom book ever. So
That's a really good idea, though. People say I don't have time for stuff like this.
Exactly.
You gotta look for it, but you do.
So actually, that came out of writing a newspaper column that I did many, many years ago. And I had done it, and I had built up some notoriety from being in the newspaper, as I mentioned before. And so I was doing this workshop at a local bookstore, and there was a lady that came, and she sat in on the workshop and everything. Bless her heart, she did. And she endured this whole workshop. And then afterwards, she goes, Gloria, this was really great and all, but I thought you had a book. I thought this was a book signing.
Oh, no.
So I said, all right, I guess I need to put a book together then.
Awesome. Well, it's a wonderful book. Where can people find it?
It's on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Yes,
Called
it's on
Got
Amazon.
90 Seconds.
Yes.
Fantastic. So I know you have some events coming up, and I also want
I
for you
do.
to tell everyone how to get in touch with you. So what's coming up for you that you're offering?
Well, I do have a website, so they can go to remarkablyu.com, but also the best place to be in the know is on my Facebook page.
Yes.
So,
The world of Facebook. I love it.
Yes,
Yes.
that's where I do a lot of videos, and I have a lot of information. There's a free ebook on there that's called The Top 10 Dream Killers and what to do about it. And that is actually the story of a gal who came to me who was trying to figure out if she wanted to go to the Olympics. And so that was a pretty incredible
Interesting.
story
Yeah, I
of how
bet.
she did and how she actually got to go. It was
Wow.
pretty cool.
Awesome.
So anyway, so that's on there, and I just last week introduced to the world, I guess, my Clarity and Confidence coaching program that's online.
Fantastic.
So I'm very, very excited about that as
So
well.
you coach people. You can coach people all over the world.
All
because
over
you
the
can
world.
Do it online. You don't have to leave your home, and that's huge.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
a lot of people don't want to leave their house anymore for stuff
Yes.
like that. So you don't have to. So remarkablyu.com, Facebook under Remarkably You.
Yes.
Okay. And phone number, anything like that. Email.
Email is easy.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way to get me, and it's just Gloria at remarkablyu.com.
Easy. All right.
Yes.
Simple. So check it out. Go to her website. I love your website, by the way. It's
Oh, thank
very
you.
user friendly, but a lot of really great information. And I think it does a fantastic job of just really enveloping everything that you offer. Because there's a lot,
So
but
it's
it breaks
delivered,
it down.
right?
Yeah, it's great. So thank you so much for being
Thank you.
here.
Thanks for having
So much
me.
fun. I always love talking to you. And thank you to Jim Wofford and Logan Street Signs and Banners for having us here every week. And find me on Facebook too, Jenny Parks, Parkes, or you can email me, jennyparks@alignyourlifewellness.com. Thanks again so much for being here. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, everyone.